Well, good morning. Good afternoon, wherever it is. If it's morning, good morning. If it's afternoon, good afternoon. Or as I just like to say, happy brunch, everybody. Happy brunch. It is I, the Oracle of Whimsy. The good doctor has taken Sunday off, and her alter ego is here making mischief, getting into trouble. Not too much trouble. Oh, I forgot to put the charity up, so be patient, everyone. Be patient while I fix that little problem. Because you all had a charity request, and I got to go take care of it. Oh, there we go. Add the fundraiser. Join a fundraiser. We're doing our American Forest. That's what you all said you wanted, right? Requested to build another. You want to build another forest? Okay, I might have to. I hate to have to do this again. Thought we could go with an old one, but I guess it's. There we are. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Anybody can tell us anything about AmericanForest.org? That'll be a nice thing for us to talk about. Well, let me tell you a little bit about American Forest. For every dollar donated, they engage in forest management and they will plant a seedling. It was built in 1875, AmericanForest.org. Yes, it was. And 1875, that's right. Thank you for helping the Oracle of Whimsy build a forest. You know, there's one thing that makes the Oracle of Whimsy happy. It is planting trees, right? Okay. There we go. It should appear. If you would like to make, I apologize. I should have taken care of that. Okay. Thank you for that donation, Catherine. You have given birth to 20 babies. I'll put that onto the donation thing. Did you guys see the charity? Did it show up? Hopefully. Yes. Let's build a forest. That is the name of the campaign. Okay. I'm going to go to the campaign. Yeah, I bet you are. And I'm going to, where's the American Forest thing? Oh, there, is it there? Darn, where'd the American Forest thing go? Should be showing. Sorry, folks, I'm trying to put up the charity. Huh. Oh, well. All right, whatever you guys donate, it should appear. If it doesn't appear soon, it'll hopefully appear soon. Hi, Joanne Carson. Good to see you. Hi, Ocean Star. Hi, Yolanda. Hi, Karen. I'm going to take a glass of water. L'chaim, cheers, everyone. Hi, Joel Tilson. Hi, Joyce Pietras. Sorry we had such a rocky start. I just wanted to make sure the charity was up for today. Oh, did people, do you see the charity up now that I've refreshed? I don't know. Nope, not here. Hmm. Oh, well, what can you do? Hot in Sacramento? Well, oh, I got the date right. I got that part right. Good. I always worry about getting the dates right. Let me make sure. Add the fundraiser, join existing fundraiser. Is it here? Now it's gone again. Huh, strange. You know what, you guys, for whatever reason, I think they won't let me do it because it's live. So we may have to join a previous. We'll do the World Hunger, okay? We're getting we have co-representation with co-sponsorship with matching. You know what I mean, with Google. Okay, did that one go through? Can people check the charity? Just want to make sure. It's important, you know. Yeah, is it okay now? All right, so we're raising money for that charity. Got a Ukraine charity up now? Yeah, good. Okay, that's the one I want. And then we'll do the other charity next time. How is everybody? I'm sorry about the delay. Yeah, you know, it's YouTube. How is everyone? We got a couple announcements. I don't like these little wands. But you see, the idea of the little wand is that if I put Flopsy in the hat, out comes Flopsy, then I get to be the Mad Hatter at the tea party, right? All right, let's do it. Let's tell you the schedule. All right, so first things first, be kind to all so that all can be kind to you too. That is our motto here. Secondly, we have a book club, people who are subscribers of the channel, excuse me, members of the channel. We started a book club to promote the books from our members. And of course, I'm getting my obligatory allergic reaction, which always happens the first 10 minutes. So be patient. All right. So this month's book is Stay Sober and Save the World, the Cavewoman Way, if you would like to join our book club. And we talk about the books. We'll be talking at the book at the end of Tuesday's show at 6 p.m. on July 25th, if you would like to join our book club. It's like a channeled, it's like a rabbit hole. It's like HCRV. You know, she enters the rabbit hole imagining a dialogue with a woman that lived a long time ago, asking that woman, how did you resolve certain conflicts? And the dialogue is the book, and it's very well written. I also want to say that the book selections for the year 2023 have all been selected. We have selected all of the books for 2023. We have not selected the books for 2024. So I'd like to tell you all, if you have already finished the book selection for July and you'd like to read ahead, I'm going to show you now the books that we are reading for the rest of the year. All right. So if you sent me books, thank you. Are you ready? All right. Announcements for the month of July. Again, Ellen Archer. We are meeting at the end of the Tuesday show, 6 p.m., to discuss an amazing book, kind of like a channeled work. It's almost like heart-centered remote viewing. between herself and a woman who lived during Cavewoman times, and they exchange a dialogue, How to Heal the World. A great, great book. All right. Now, if you finished with that and you would like to continue your reading, there is the Tilson Grist Mill Saga, put out by one of Joel Tilson's relatives, Mountain Folklore Genealogy, and it comes with pictures. To find out more about how you can get a copy, I would reach out to Joel Tilson. Extremely good reading if you want to find out more about the cultural heritage, etc., of the people of East Tennessee. I've been reading it and I've been enjoying it immensely. All right, so for the month of August, Inviting the Queen was our selection for the month of August, written by Sandra Rogers. We look forward to reading that. Dun, 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 dun. For the month of September, Stumbling Toward Grace, the story of another recovery story. Just recovery from abuse, etc. Rosalia Scalia. She will be her book, Stumbling Toward Grace. And again, you can buy these at any time, but this will be the book we have chosen for September. For Halloween, we're getting a little spooky for Hallows Eve. Not really spooky, but we have chosen The Call of the Cards for our October read. It's written by Heather Hardison. And boy, are we, that is definitely for Sam Hain. So we're looking forward to that. For November, the winner for our November selection is Cottage Chicken Shanghai. This is a book that I actually almost bought on my own because I had actually spent time in Shanghai, and I'm an anthropologist. This is one of those books that I intended on actually purchasing, and then it actually wound up being mailed to me. So that's kind of weird. So this is actually, or I may have already bought it. You know what? I think I've already purchased this, and this is my second copy. So it's not that I thought I was going to be, I think I actually did purchase it. Anyway, I have to go look. Sharon Winters, the Notable Indie Shelf Award is our November selection. I'm very excited about this book. I love books that take place in other cultures, other way of life, how they cook, how they prepare food, how they take care of each other. I'm so excited about this. I'm also really excited about our December Christmas book, Hanukkah, Noel, whatever you want to call it. When the light starts to return back to the earth. I really am very excited about this. In fact, another one that I started reading early, and that is The Silent Power of Words. How is that for the perfect December book? It's written by Griselda Steiner, and it's written in prose and various different poems. And there are... I was actually going through one. Oh yes, the one on Oshun. It's a series of poems and prose similar to the Psalms, very sacred, and I believe that you're all going to very much enjoy reading this during the holiday season. So I'm thrilled with how our book club is evolving, and I'm even more thrilled with what unbelievably talented people we have that like hanging out with me and the show, because boy, we've got some great books. All right, so people also asked if I could give the schedule. Usually I do the announcements, the greetings, turn the camera around, we talk to everybody else, so you get to know who your friends are, who you're having brunch with. This is an open virtual brunch. We open this brunch to the four corners of the earth, to anybody who wants to sit and break bread or rice or whatever your favorite meal is, or a smoothie, and just hang and talk about the subjects of the day. And of course, as we always mention, be kind to all so that all can be kind to you. Also, we raise money for charity. So if any part of this brunch and what we're doing here in any way entertains you, it would be wonderful if you could throw a couple of dollars towards one of the fundraisers that we've been focusing on. I believe we were going to do American Force. We'll have to do it next week because I had some trouble putting it up. But this week we will be continuing to raise funds for people who need relief for food relief. Okay, got through all of that. Oh, I want to give a special shout out to everybody who has become a member, both here on YouTube, but also on Patreon as well. We do have a membership program, and it's really been helpful to build and improve the quality of the channel, including hiring Debbie, etc. So we're very, very grateful for everybody who's become a member. If you become a fairy and angel, I think it only costs $2.99, and it affords you get to see a lot of the free videos and get together with us on Saturday. The $9.99 and elders and empaths, that's our mystery school if you'd like to sit in and learn how to do heart-centered remote viewing, herbs, etc. And then finally, we have a benefactors program, which allows you to have a reading once a month, consultation with me in addition to everything else. And I think it's $99 a month. So thank you to the benefactors. We want to give a shout out to all the new Patreons. That's where I put up my music as I learn to be a musician. So special shout out to the Patreons, Honey Child, thank you, Trix 32, Regina and Brown, Lorelei, Linda E, and Christy Higgins. They are our June members over at Patreon. Okay, I think I got all of that. I think I got through everything. Woohoo! So we're going to do that. Then we will talk about the remote views. Then we traditionally do the empath's prayer before going into the blitzes. People are like, do the empath's prayer. It's always before the blitzes. Empath prayer traditionally is done to protect readers, HCRV practitioners, when they go into semi-trance. So you wouldn't want me to be in that state reading the remotes. So yeah, so usually I do the HCRV prior to going into doing the blitzes. So now's the next part, right? We're going to turn the camera around and tell us who you are. Who are we having brunch with? What you eating? What you drinking? Are you eating at a restaurant? Are you eating at home? What part of the world are you in? Are you in the United States or are you somewhere else? What's the weather like? Do tell. Fill in all the details. We certainly want to know them. Thank you, Anonymous, who has donated $5 to the World Food Program. Much appreciated. Of course, if you need any help with anything, or if you feel like your questions are not getting answered, be sure to reach out to Joel Tilson. He is our floor director, basically, and he is walking the floor with a virtual mic, making sure that everyone's voice is heard. Hi, Karen W. Great to see you. Oh, you've been having earthquakes? Wow. Debbie Brady, of course, is the producer of our social media. She is our social media person, and she is the person that designs our merch. Again, merch is just another way to support the channel. And I bought a bunch of different merch, and this is our little alien. Thought you guys would get a kick. Didn't she do a nice job, Debbie? She's done all the merch. Yeah. So thank you. And thank you everyone who's donating to the charity. All right, so are you guys ready to rumble? Are you ready to talk about the remote views? Gonna have to kiss the hat goodbye. All right, let's do it. Let's talk first about the biggest concern, which is that energetically people are picking up the July 4th surprise from Putin. This becomes incredibly terrifying also if you think about the fact, you guys see me okay? This becomes increasingly stressful if you look at what he said to us 4 or 5 years ago about what was going to happen if we interrupted his trade route. He threatened all kinds of things. He threatened nuclear retaliation, etc. So evidently there's how many cooling reactors? 5 cooling reactors? Please feel free to correct me, but evidently according to the news out of Europe, something like 3 of the 5 cooling areas have been booby-trapped. So you have a situation now, which is now, I guess, common knowledge, where you have this lunatic, Putin, who theoretically booby traps the entire thing. If the Russians are evacuating, because right now the Russians have begun to evacuate Crimea and no new Russians are being allowed from the Russian side into Crimea. Then this guy's probably thinking of he's probably thinking in terms of nuclear contamination of groundwater, something that he thinks is not going to travel to Moscow, right? So you have this lunatic who's put bombs around the Zaporizhia and is telling you to back off or he's going to blow the entire thing up. For all we know, that it's virtual and everybody everybody's going to leave and it's just going to be him and the computer with the bombs. This is the worst case scenario, right? Because people have complained that their biggest criticism of Dr. Anderson is that her weakest point as a remote viewer, she's too optimistic. Yes, he told us he was going to invade Ukraine for 5 years, but he won't do it, right? Even though he said he was going to do this, right? He said, I am going to detonate it if you don't give me my trade route. So what happened? We blew his trade route out. We did everything that he told us, don't do this thing, because if you do this thing, I'm coming after you. So, remove my tag. So that is the situation. It might be another reason why we have intelligence watching the situation very closely. The other thing is that they're talking about this will not be good until July 5th. And then you have July 4th, and you have a situation where just how crazy is this person? To give you a perspective of just how much Wagner cost, just how much it bankrupted the military. When he fired Wagner, he immediately announced that the regular military was going to get a raise. So they were living on $200 a month and not even basic equipment because Wagner was living high on the hog. Can you imagine being a soldier with an environment like that and they're getting everything and the best mess hall, the best everything, and you're considered second class because you have to be here because you were drafted, and your casualty numbers are higher because they've diverted your safety to this group of people. Now they've blown through everything. So the latest stuff out of the front is that they're using bombs from World War II. They actually broke open some of these missiles they're launching were built in 1939. So everybody in the Russian army now gets a raise of $50 or whatever as they spread this $1 billion disaster that was Wagner. Yeah, they'll spread 100 million. They saved $1 billion and they'll spread out 100 million. Everybody's going to think he's a great man. We all got a $50 raise, right? So let me see if I can find the map. Oh, you're going to love this. Why does she do this to us, right? Yeah, so Tuesday is July 4th. So I would expect, and we can do some blitzes on it, but I would expect that number one, either we're going to see some kind of special operation happening between now and the 3rd. Because this is not a situation where you can just sit back and wait and hope for the best, right? If say he detonated it and he just contaminated the groundwater for the entire Zaporizhia area so that it became another Chernobyl, but he kept it localized enough, and then his attitude is I didn't want those grapes anyway, right? Kind of like when he said in the remote, don't come over that east. You better not come over the East River. Remember? What did he say? Where's the map? Don't you come over that river. What happened 4 days afterwards? I'm on tape saying it. What did he do? What did he do? He blew up the dam, right? 4 days after he said, don't do this, the dam breaks, right? 3 weeks, we see an escalation. We say, well, that's it. It's the beginning of the end, 3 weeks, 3 weeks to 2 months. That's me being an optimist, right? So that's the main question. Is this guy crazy enough? Discuss. What would you do if you wore NATO? What would you do if that was the situation? It's an interesting conversation, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so according to the remotes, it looked like Prigozhin. Somebody had said that Prigozhin was seen back in Moscow. No, Prigozhin was seen after after the coup, but then he went to Belarus and he hasn't been seen since. So the last remote we did on Prigozhin, he was in what appeared to be a military base. I think it's the new one they're building in Belarus, and they were putting up new bases. That's going to partially be for housing traders. So part of what they're doing with Prigozhin right now is he is being interrogated because they need to know what information he sold to the West. So there was a question also about the money that was found, if they're going to frame him, if FSB is going to take that money and say, well, they planted the money and then blame him. No, I don't think that. I think he genuinely didn't get paid. I think he genuinely got angry about it. I think that Wagner was high on the hog. I think it bankrupted the Russian military. I think they became too powerful. They became a Frankenstein's monster. They literally went after. They drained the Russian military into bankruptcy, and it's like weaning a child off the tit, right? Hey, no, you're going to give me my money. Also, he and his soldiers did take heavy casualties out of Bakhmut. I totally think that Ukrainian intelligence brokered a deal with him to sell information to the West in order to take out certain generals, etc. And that's starting to leak. So that's the other question. Is the money going to be linked back to him selling out positions? Certainly, when you do a remote on Prigozhin and you go in, that is precisely what the Russians are focused on. They want to know who the hell you've been selling information, and what specifically you told them, and what specifically you told them about our operations. So that's where Prigozhin is at. It's highly unusual that they would say, here you go ahead and charge him in the Hague. But given how angry Putin is and how irrational, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, exactly, Joel. The concern is that the water in and around the plant would be contaminated. The desperation when he blew up, when he blew up the dam. We're talking about someone that's unbelievably irrational. We will know by Tuesday if something's going to be done. It's a very scary situation. Also, expect high security in the United States for July 4th, as there could be increased fear of terrorist attacks and also cyber attacks. Many of them coming coming from Russia. In terms of what Putin wants, he wants control of any export that's going out of that sea and the Black Sea. So that was why he wanted Moldova, Romania, and Bulgaria. according to the remotes, Putin said prior to them giving up the Soviet Union, they made a profit at the ports. So if you sent anything out of the port of Odessa or you parked your boat in the port of Odessa, the money went to the state. It went to the Soviet Union. So what Putin is saying in this remote is that when we pulled back and we left these ports, like the port at Odessa, we lost a really important, not just the trade route, but we lost the income from the trade route. Not only the ability to sell through those ports, but also the ability to collect tariffs, et cetera, from the ports. And so I want my ports back and I want my tariffs back. Specifically, I lost money. We lost money, the Soviet Union, from lost ports from Moldova, Romania, and Bulgaria and Poland, right? So in terms of Poland, people are concerned about Belarus. You have Poland to the west. Poland is not going to put up with this. They remember what it is to be occupied by Russia, and they will get into the war if necessary. But that's basically to be in Putin's mind, is he wants to go back to the day when he could collect money from these ports. And so same with the nuclear power plants. Our nuclear power plant, we built it. We should be able to make a profit that's being generated by producing the electricity. It belongs to us. We want to be paid. We want to be paid profit from your electric bill. We want to be paid a profit every time you park anything at the port in Odessa or any other ports, because that used to be our port. Same with some of the airports. We built this stuff. So what are we getting back? We poured all this money in, and you, West, didn't give us anything, and you locked us in and you didn't let us get our trade out. So that's what we want. It's not just about taking the land. It's asset to trade, ports, and a huge amount of money that we lost when we pulled back. The bottom line is that Prigozhin could be tortured, and the question is really simple to Prigozhin by FSB. We have one question and one question only. Who did you sell information to? Questions about that? Very good, Joel Tilson. I think that Joel has made a very good point. So this was the remote view I was supposed to write down, but fell asleep. And then I got up to use the restroom. And when I came back from the restroom, I couldn't remember the remote. And I remember thinking, this is a really, really important remote. And then I forgot the remote. I had to, come on, you have to use the restroom, right? But this is an example of a remote that can be lost just because you get up and you go from one room to another and you completely forgot. Go back to what you were doing in the trance state if you lose a remote. So where were the bribes going? When the Russians started bribing people from the FSB Bank, from Deutsche Bank, and when members of the Russian mafia were giving loans to people who couldn't get loans through other means, they basically became beholden to the mob, right? And then things took a more horrible turn with people like Donald Trump, right? We can go ahead and move on to Donald Trump from here. Became more horrible because then the solution became bigger than the problem. You had people that were trying to shape him into a politician because he was a politician who was already compromised. Consequently, they knew he was a politician that they could control, right? So this thus enters the kingmaker, right? The Roger Stone. Giuliani's job is to go over to his friends at the FBI and pay them to do a little research. How is that different than taking a bribe? If you take $250,000 from Giuliani because you helped him manufacture a fake investigation against Hillary Clinton, is that a little work on the side or is that a bribe? This looks to me like a bribe. So war is not conventional anymore. War is not conventional anymore. We now have a lot of mega yachts that are rotting. You heard about these mega yachts that have been abandoned? I think Joel Tilson has the answer. If the feds shut down your bank account because they think you're involved in nefarious activities, if the feds close down your crypto accounts and seize the money, what happens to your ability to pay the bank for the mega yacht? If the feds start looking into your funds, they start confiscating your money. So an extremely large amount of mega yachts have been abandoned. Yes. E-Seaman. But what's really going on with E-Seaman? These people's banks' assets have been frozen. Good point, Joel Tilson. So can they pay for the mega yacht? So what did they do? The Interpol, working with a local intelligence, right? Looking or with people's homeland, right? They first found the money. Then they seized the accounts. Then they started seizing people's yachts. What was the importance other than ego? Being able to meet in remote areas, theoretically privately, right? That was one of the things they were doing. So Giuliani worked with Roger Stone to blackmail people at the FBI. One of the people that they were blackmailing was Lindsey Graham. Possibly people have talked about Ted Cruz and other members of the Republican Party. When I went into a remote on Ted Cruz to find out if he was involved in anything corrupt, I got that he may have been raised in a religious household with a lot of restrictions. And so he has a deep desire to do bad things that his mom wouldn't let him do. Of course, the bad things aren't. The truth of the matter is, Ted Cruz is not really that kinky. It's really more, he's more into like, I don't know, topless dancers. Yeah. The sleazy gals you hang out with at truck stops. That's more Ted Cruz. You got an extra $1? It's that kind of, that's Ted Cruz energy. Lindsey Graham is more complicated. For reasons we've discussed. So I think, is that everything I have for you before we do the impasse prayer? DT already, the feds were saying regarding DT, he's already under federal watch because they had him under Eric and they had him under his, they're tightening the screw with his Secret Service. Yeah, I think that's true, Joel. And I think the reason that they're booing Lindsey is because Trump thinks that Lindsey Graham has flipped. And he turns on anyone he thinks he has flipped. Well, I think that it's an indication that maybe Lindsey Graham flipped. So Trump is attacking them, right? Yeah, I think that, what's her name? Boebert? That's his type of naughty. Going on a date with a girl like that, right? Going on with a truck and a beer, and your parents are like, "You better be home by 6," right? The church function, that sort of thing. You want to be a little bad. You want to go hang out and drink beer, and controlling parents won't let you be a regular kid, right? Okay, I think that's everything that I was supposed to mention. I looked up the term garrison, which was a word that I was always forgetting. The garrisons. So Fort Myers oversees the garrisons both in the United States and outside the United States. The United States garrisons, they are the keeper. I kept getting Fort Myers. So Fort Myers oversees, where to send prisoners. So They have Fort Myers garrisons actually are located in Washington, D.C., and a couple of other places that decides where military prisoners should go. They also have garrisons in military garrisons in other countries like Japan, and I think one, oh, Gelnhausen, Germany. Is it Gelnhausen? Yeah. Oh, Kaiserslautern, excuse me, Kaiserslautern. Okay, so are you guys ready for your community prayer reading, collective reading and community prayer? All right, are we ready? Yes? Would you guys like to get a collective reading? Okay. So how many of you have bought merch yet? I think this goes down in history as the most narcissistic thing I've ever done. Yes, wearing my own. And yet I like it so very much. Being an Aries, I like it so very much. All right. Let's do it. Beautiful prayers for beautiful people. All right. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. All right, now we're going to do at 42:42. Oh, we start the Empath collective reading. What is in store for you this week? You naughty little bunnies, you. Yes. Oh, much education lay ahead. So I see peace and I see stability for many of you. Stabilize your homes, work on your homes. I know I'm working on my garden and I'm very excited about it. Yes, I'm growing all kinds of things, mangoes, you name it. So we have here exchange of ideas, theater, the arts, creativity, and new education, like me learning to play the violin. I'm so excited. Now I'm trying to find a violin teacher. I just see myself, being this great concert violinist in my dreams. Uh, Taking up violin at the age of 60, that's right. Because, gosh darn it, why should I sit and watch somebody else play the violin beautifully and think, wow, and then be wistful, like, oh, I could have been. Start. It's fun. Particularly if you're retired, you got plenty of time and you're just sitting there getting depressed, you might as well master something, right? So education is where you are at. Also stability, importing and exporting, but this is a great stability card. So overall, I would say education, learning new things, learning new skills lay ahead for you. I think also many of you, like me, are entering into a time of discipline. It's really a time when people are beginning to focus. If you truly want something, you have to give yourself, give it attention. King of Swords, he's very disciplined. You sometimes struggle with maybe procrastination, addictions. With me, my addiction is YouTube, right? I could just spend all day on YouTube. An addiction doesn't necessarily have to be something as toxic as a drug. Although I must confess, sugar, yeah, Like I really like ice cream this time of year and I'm having it literally every day. So I'm telling myself, okay, I got to watch it, right? Because it's the time of year, right? So you have the devil there. So on the one hand, you have discipline, but you struggle with temptation. A devil is anything, well, in Hebrew, the devil, the Satan is the adversary. If you want to understand, it's not some being that's going to, the demon that's coming to get you. The original meaning was the adversary, anything that keeps you from creating heaven on earth, which is the reason you incarnated into this matrix in the first place, right? It's to take this low, raw vibration and bring it up to a higher dimension of tikkun olam in Kabbalah. And then this dimension becomes heaven, other people will incarnate and say, oh, I left that horrible place and now I'm in heaven, right? So we just go into these worlds, raising them into tikkun olam in Kabbalah, right? So anything that keeps you from the path of entering into these realms, raising them up into heaven on earth, that's what we would call the Satan. A lot of the time people come to this world and they think, well, I'm going to die and then I'm going to go to heaven. Well, that's not really the natural order. The natural order is that you're kind of here, kiddo. You got a paintbrush and you got to pull up your britches and create heaven on earth. Now, there are people that don't want you to have fun. There are psychopaths, right? And that would people that for whatever reason have decided that they're going to be the obstacle to the process. So we have relationships that can drag us down. In Buddhist teaching, we think about the devils or the obstacles can be our parents, right? If our parents don't approve of our behavior, or they don't understand why we want to go and do something, they don't want to fund certain projects, the adversary may be our parents. It may be our government. Buddhism, they talk about, you may want to do something great, but your government, if you're born in Afghanistan and you're a female and you want to study something and those options simply aren't available to you. So sometimes it's your parents are the obstacle. Sometimes it's your government. Sometimes it's your health. Your health can be the obstacle, right? Other relationships. And sometimes and many of those obstacles we can't control, but the obstacles we can control are our own actions, right? So be mindful of the obstacles in your life that are blocking your discipline to get what you want. What is above you at this time? Lovers. So you could be collaborating with other people. I'm starting to talk to people about making music, and other artists are talking to me about their music, and I'm starting to slowly enter into a world of collaborating with other artists, creating heaven on earth. Again, this is from the Judaic perspective, right? This is but also I think it aligns very nicely with some of the Buddhist philosophy. Also, it's a process, right? That's why in the Talmud, if you're a little kid and you screw up, we say, well, you don't get punished like an adult because you're still learning. So we don't hold children to the same standards as an adult. Same with you as you create heaven on earth. You begin the process like a child with a conscious understanding, like, I need to do everything in my power to live my best life. I have a moral responsibility to live my best life for my family, for my children, for my community, so that I can be an example. That's the first phase in the struggle. The second phase of the struggle is that you have to share it with the world. And often I'll get calls from people that they've really achieved self-actualization. They're living in a beautiful garden. They live in heaven on earth. They're living their greatest dreams. And they think, well, I can die now. No, you've only completed the first task. The second task is you have to go teach this now to someone else and share it with the world. Right? So there's always work to do. So Lovers is about the second phase. It's not just enough to go sit in your garden and say, well, I've attained enlightenment. That's a type of Buddhist that's talked about in the Lotus Sutra, Avalokitesvara. Right? Did I say it right? Avalokitesvara is the Buddha of compassion. And then you have the Buddhas, which are Astorvastanse. What is it called? They simply would become enlightened, like happy in their garden, but they wouldn't share it with anybody else. And that's cool. And it's talked about in the Lotus Sutra. You can just create a beautiful world for yourself and float around in your beautiful world and say, I'm cool. But it's better to share your heaven on earth with others and to teach it to others. Share what you know with the rest of the world. Look at this. You're coming into the time of power and manifestation in your garden. What do you want? You have stop underestimating your ability to be powerful. It's almost like I'm not that powerful because you don't want to do the work. Fear of being stabbed in the back holds you back. So you're traumatized too. There's real trauma here. I got screwed over in the past. I'm afraid to go forward. Learn to put the past behind you. Look at this. Boundaries. If somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Don't let the devils of the past have access to you in the future. If somebody is an obstacle in the past, be wary. Maybe they've changed, maybe they haven't. Your number one priority, though, is you must create heaven on earth. Be aware of what the obstacle is to that process. You're under no obligation to anybody to be abused, and furthermore, it's in violation with the natural order. You need to get away from people like that. Archangel Michael stands with you. He's the archangel of truth, and he also clears the way. Others in opposition, your job, money, the fact that we live in a society where we have to work, coin, financial restrictions, or just having to have a job in the conventional world. The conventional world can sometimes be an obstacle. Being spiritual beings in a physical world this is the earth sign energy, money, bills, finances, taxes. It's the obstacle for, I think, all of us, right? It's the work, it's the toil, it's the thing that's no fun, but it's also the cherry on top. Because if you discipline, like me, if I really work hard an hour a day at the violin, who knows where I'll be next year? Maybe I'll be able to play a little something. You don't know unless you commit to it. Hopes and fears, to be alone, to die alone, to be in exile, to be locked out of the church, to not be the cool kid in class, like Ted Cruz, right? It's the fear. Exile is the primordial fear of all human beings because exile meant death. We rely on others to survive. Final outcome, you must learn to tune out the noise. I have this problem too. If you truly want to learn to master your own mind, you must tune out noise. Two of Swords has a very positive aspect. It's about hear no evil, see. I don't want to gossip. I don't want to get pulled down into that negative energy. I got too much going on right now. You must learn to you must give yourself space to develop yourself. Time and space is needed if you want to master anything. If you don't give yourself time, if you don't give yourself space to do the work, if you don't take your work seriously, how then can you accomplish your task? Others may argue with you, particularly if they aren't used to you fighting to have territory and space for your goals. If you've been traditionally not taking your goals and dreams seriously, others may have a hard time adjusting to the new you, but it is necessary. Final outcome for you is the Seven of Wands. Fight back, defend yourself. It's also the water protectors. Your judgment is solid. Good cards. Get busy. That's my advice. Get busy. All right. Hope that gave you some clarity. All right. So that was a fun reading. What do y'all think? All right. Are we ready to do some blitzes? Gonna blitz away. Yeah. Boy, a lot of you all are like catching up. A lot of people, maybe we grew up with Calvinist parents. You're supposed to work and be miserable and then die. That's kind of the Western view of public education, isn't it? They want you to suffer and be miserable, and you're going to school, and we make it miserable by design. It's a very strange view of education. No wonder schools in America are such violent places. The kids are miserable. You want to reduce angry students, stop creating schools that are designed as torture devices. I mean, my God. It's like, I remember growing up, going to school in the United States, and it was like they it was like they were punishing us. School was a form of punishment. And then I remember going and visiting schools in other countries like Israel, and there was no concept that education was punishment. And so everybody just happily danced to school. And of course, higher grades, higher math scores, some of the highest in the world, because they don't have this view that school, you're going to be tortured and, well, you got to sit there and we need to really look at what we're asking. We're asking young people to be miserable. Of course, they hate it. Why don't we create school systems like they do in other countries where education is actually an enjoyable process? And also start focusing on what the kids really want to do. Well, what do you want to learn? You know, self-directed education. You want to learn math? Well, if you want to be a pilot, then you would have them do math, but you would also direct the math towards things like astrophysics, etc. You know, they still would do the homework, but to make it interesting, you have to add things that are, put it in the context that's interesting to them, right? Oh, looks like we're getting some orders to blitz, blitz, blitz away. Let's do it. Yeah, look at Goosebumps. Look how many kids became great readers because teachers actually started hiding the goosebumps. Did you know about that? No, Tommy, I can't allow you to check this out. It's just too scary. No, I just don't think you could handle it. What do you think the kid does? And then you just leave it somewhere, or no, don't take the goosebumps home. It's just, well, of course the kids gotta have the goosebumps, right? And then they became, the more we try to keep the goosebumps from the kids, the more obsessed they became with the goosebumps. The next thing you know, you go into the kid's room and he's got 50 goosebumps, right? But that was the trick of how to get kids to read, was you get a book, you get books like Goosebumps, and then you tell them that they're not ready. Then the child starts to argue with you. Or another thing you do is you start reading the Goosebumps, and then when you genuinely get scared, you close it and say, I ain't reading this, and you just leave it. Say, I don't think you should read that. My sister-in-law has a doctorate in education. She actually went to Afghanistan to teach the master's program to the women there. And that was a technique they used. And one of the parents took the technique and said to his son, no, Tommy, you can't handle goosebumps. The teacher said, no, Tommy, you can't handle goosebumps. It's too scary for you. And he said, I think I can handle it. And he takes it home. And the teacher got a note from the parent thanking them, because the parent said, last night, Tommy came into our bedroom and asked if he could sleep with us, which he hadn't done since he was like, I don't know how old. So whatever the hell he had been reading in Goosebumps had scared him so much that he had asked to sleep with his parents. And the mother had thanked the teacher because he had gotten so engrossed in it. And of course, he finished it that night and went and got another Goosebumps. Yeah. All right. Pomona remembers, can we check in on Madonna again? Yes, we can. I think she got released and she's going to be okay. She had a very serious bacterial infection. A lot better. She's doing a lot better. She had pneumonia, it looks like. Water. She was sitting on water. Sitting on water, that's pneumonia. Water in the lungs. New beginning. Keep seeing this thing about addiction and sobriety. Addiction, sobriety. Very strong woman. Emerges. She's a child of, I think that a lot of the time she has male deities with her, in the Yoruba tradition. but she's got a lot of Oshun. Also, that fire queen is coming out in her. She's struggling with something. She has a new beginning happening. I always see her son and the fact that she's really close to her son and she's worried about him. She's seriously thinking of completely leaving the music industry and doing something entirely different. She feels like she's grown out of it and that her life has to have more meaning than that. It's basically she's come to a point where she just feels like the industry is something she did when she was younger, and she has to turn a corner and find meaning in her life in some other way. We can see here she's going to be okay. Four of Wands, new beginnings with her son too. I think this is David. Is he? I think he might be starting college or something. Something's going on there. And also worried about him. She's traveling, concerns about sobriety. Final outcome is she's going to leave it all. That can happen. When you have a near-death experience, what is she, 62, 61, 62 years? I know she's a couple of years older than me, right? So, yeah, getting towards the other half, and you start thinking about certain things. No, she's going to be fine. But I think that music, she's just moving in a different direction, I think, in terms of, if I were her, I'd be a philanthropist and an activist, and that would be my new life. And film. I don't know why she can't continue to make films and put music in her films, just because, she's still a talented artist. I could see her going into films again. Didn't she almost win the Academy Award or something? All right. Oh, for Evita, no, Evita missed the Academy Award. That was what it is. They got late in their admissions. Yeah. All right. The World Trade Center was attacked in 1993 and 2001, both times on Mayor Giuliani's watch. Now that we know about how he operated, do you think he made it possible? No, I don't think so. I think that it was such a crazy idea to use commercial planes filled with fuel as bombs. But there was evidence that it was, really what there was evidence of was that our security failed. And a lot of people blame Bush Jr. because he was optimistic to the point where he wouldn't listen to the security brief. They would say, we've got to talk about Osama bin Laden, and he would say, no, you're dragging me down. We got to be optimistic. And unfortunately, his demand for optimism was he refused to look at the warnings. And there were a lot of security analysts that believed that his optimism was in and of itself a security risk. Yeah. In terms of Giuliani's future, I think it goes back to the remotes. I think that his security policy to keep him out of prison was to start naming names inside the FBI. Well, if you're going to do this to me, I'm going to let the whole world know who I was working with. Well, they already arrested one FBI field office person who had taken $250,000. Did he take it from Giuliani? It goes back to the remote. I mean, those are bribes. And this was going on a long time. He's in serious, this is going to wipe him out financially. Look at it, Four of Pentacles. Also, I think Giuliani still thinks he's in control in the sense that a Four of Pentacles is a rigidity card. We don't want to give everything to the other person, right? So he may still feel like he has some control over what information he gives to the feds. I feel like his movement could be restricted. I feel like Giuliani's movement could be restricted as well, because it's a fear of restriction of movement. Then this King of Wands comes in, this strong leadership position person, like Mueller had a card like that. So Giuliani, I don't know what he did to his money. You'd think that these people would be rich. What are they doing with all their money? I mean, look at this. It's like Igor Freeman or whatever. He said, I need $500,000 to get rid of Rudy. Rudy won't leave me alone. So what happened to that guy? Did he borrow money from the mob? And then the mob was one of Giuliani's clients. And so they would put the squeeze on anybody that borrowed money from the mob, i.e. FEB Bank or these Deutsche Bank loans, people that couldn't get loans other ways. And then they would put the squeeze on them. And this was one of the people that would put the squeeze on them. Giuliani would put the squeeze on them. And depending upon what you needed him for, to run for political office, well, then you bring in Roger Stone, who is the kingmaker, and he'll brush him up and send him on his way. So now we know what? That the politician we have is compromised, and that we're going to train him to go out and bark like a dog or quack like a duck to give us what we want. Money, bribes. He's facing very serious problems because this is like Judge, this is like Papa, and he's also looking at being broke. I could see him going to prison, even if he does cooperate with these types of cards. It bothers me a lot when I look at it. It bothers me a lot. I'm so infuriated, and I'm the biggest infuriation for me is the lack that I feel I have no power. I feel as an American citizen, I can't just go marching into the police station or marching into the FBI and saying, I pay your salaries. They would just laugh at us and throw us out. Bribes. He fears that they will be successful. He's afraid that the feds are gonna close his accounts. That's what it is. So I think they opened up some accounts, and the accounts, yeah. They found his accounts. The account he thought the feds didn't know about certain hidden accounts. Yeah. So he's toast. I think it's sure tell them everything you know, but it's not going to keep you out of prison. I think it's great. He should tell them everything. I think that that's exactly what Giuliani should do, and then he should spend the rest of his life in prison. Okay, the Paris riots. Yes, remember when a couple of weeks ago we walked the grid and you guys asked me to go, I was looking for potentials of violence. Was that 3, 4 weeks ago? Usually we give you a heads up 3, 4 weeks before. And I saw violence starting in the South, which surprised me because I thought it would start in the North. So we have Marseille's on fire. Then it started in the North, and evidently somebody was shot and killed, but the tensions were growing before that because they were there when I was there a few weeks before. No, it was more than a couple of weeks ago. It was very, very high tension. I really felt it, and it felt like a powder keg. And the number one anger is that people felt like they were being treated like animals. These are highly educated students that are often the best of the brightest that have been given scholarships to go to the Sorbonne or wherever, and then they show up and they literally are treated like dogs, and many can't even get a place to live, and then they're given a list. Well, these are the places that rent to students, and so you go to the places that rent for students, and you're in the Sorbonne and you're starting school and you've got to find a place, and nobody will rent to you. And the situation is so bad that many students literally are sleeping in the streets. It is bad. First off, even if you have the money, no one will rent to you. Then they shot a kid. Kid was killed. So I don't know if there's more I can say, just because we talked about this a few weeks ago when I walked the grid, that I had felt that there would be riots in Paris. I want to also say that I can't see the future as a remote viewer. We don't claim to be able to see the future. What we do is we get into documents and we access information and thoughts around people, and then we go and we give that information to whoever hired us. What they're plotting doesn't mean they'll necessarily do it, but we can follow the energy to the most likely conclusion. Once you latch on, you can pretty much see how things are probably going to wind up. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a little longer than you had hoped, particularly when you've got people engaging in obstruction, like Bill Barr, for example. But in terms of I'm kind of angry because bringing down the riots is not going to be enough if people don't have a place to live. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like those bombed out places in the north. I mean, do they expect people to live in those things? It's like they have got to make housing, just like the United States. Everyone needs a decent place to live. And when I say decent, I mean clean drinking water. You know, start with the basics, man. It's not just Paris, it's all over France. Marseille is having riots too. Same thing, unaffordable housing and everything else. But let's take a look. It's a new beginning in France, but it's the time of the fires. Fire. Fire. This is the fire card. It's also Pilgrim's card. People are out in the cold. Homelessness. This is the homelessness card. They say it's even worse in Germany. Highest homeless rates in Europe are in Germany, and second is France, I think. Western. People are getting arrested. That's what I mean. It didn't have to get to this point. You know, that's prevention. You want to save yourself some money? Build some freaking affordable housing, student housing, man. And some countries, they have till like 35 or whatever. They have also youth housing. Why don't you guys start to do the programs like they have in Asia, where you have youth housing? It's like where you can live if you're under a certain age for like a third the price or whatever, and it's got your basic amenities, and it's like a dorm. Whether you go to, a lot of them are students, but not necessarily, and it's just affordable young people housing, and they usually have mothers or people in Asia that, you know, food is available, and it's just a situation for young people that's affordable while you get on your feet. They have programs like that in Asia. I don't understand why America can't do. How expensive would it be for us or for France to implicate something similar? You build 250 square foot studios for students as transition housing, and they can, you're eligible until age 32 or whatever. It would deal with the immediate problem, arrest. They don't have anywhere to go. We have nowhere to go. Same thing happened when students couldn't get out of Ukraine. It's ridiculous. It's so, God, what the hell is wrong with people? Many students are going back. You know, if they can't get in it, look, you gave me a grant and everything. I came from the Ivory Coast. I came from Sierra Leone. I came from wherever to start my engineering degree. I can't even get a place to sleep. I'm being treated like garbage. What am I going to do? I'm going to go back. So you have students actually saying, screw it, I'll go back, or I'll go to a university in Africa where I don't have to deal with this crap. I'll go to Nairobi. I'll go somewhere else. That's unfortunate. Here's student aid. Student aid that you can't spend because you don't have anywhere to live. Incarceration. It's ridiculous. An ounce of prevention, people. I mean, learn from the Japanese. It's such a gentle society, and I'm not saying it's perfect. They got plenty of problems too, but it's a heck of a lot better than what's going on right now in France. It will get better. They're making efforts for more change and more charity, but it shouldn't have gotten to this point. Yeah. Right, Kay. They have a basic income too. Many Asian countries have a basic income, and same, I think, in many Scandinavian. I think they also have similar affordable housing for seniors, also for young people. Yeah. And we find that when you know that you have enough food to eat, a place to sleep, you're going to be more productive, you're going to be happier, you're going to overall. So let's start with like the basics, right? Tawny talks about this with her patients in therapy. Are you safe? Well, unfortunately, for those kids in those young people in France, no. Why do you have to treat people like animals? That's, God, what the hell's wrong with people? I love Japan. Com- uh, I love it. I love everything about it. I just I would love to go. I will go back. I would love to just live there. Though the humidity in the summer's when you leave Japan, but falls in Japan, fantastic. Fall and winter is fantastic. And it's nice and warm if you go to south of Japan because similar weather to Southern California. Kyoto in the fall is amazing, but you don't want to be there in the summer. Okay, Karen W. Is 45 about to be charged with more indictments from Jack? Oh, what a great question. Let's take a look, Karen. Is uh is Linda live right now? I don't want to be. Am I cutting into someone else's time? Can anybody let me know if I need to close? I don't want to be interrupting another. Oh, they've stopped. They would, Joel. God. All right. He's trying to stay out of incarceration. His biggest fear is that they would put hands on him. Uh, it's irrefutable evidence against him already. Something's, yeah, I think there's a charges, there's another case of charges against him, possibly by the feds. Um, I think something's going to go down in August. I think he could be incarcerated by August. There's something about restriction of movement, him thinking about wanting to move or leave, and then constriction. August. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, also, it's affordable. Like, if I leave this country, it's like rents are so much cheaper in other countries. Like, 750 a month for a one bedroom in Kyoto. Why am I here? I can do YouTube from Kyoto. Yeah, they'll give you a visa if you're a teleworker. There's also golden visas. You can retire. If you earn something like 1,500 a month on your golden visa, you can legally retire in Mexico. I think you have to show proof of an income of 1,500 a month. So, yeah. So I think that's why a lot of people. Yeah, or your savings. If you had a Social Security of like 1,000 and you had some savings, that would probably be enough. Mexico's the easiest for immigration. Okay, is Trump's going to be able to have access to his money? Boy, isn't that, he's using these super PACs, but he's running out of money to pay his lawyers. Yeah, the feds are after his money, Joel. Good question. You can see it here. A new beginning of there's another investigation. There's the feds. I see the feds coming in again. August again. There's that August. We could be seeing aggressive action by August. See that? And here, the investigation. New phase in the investigation. Possible raid in August. Investigation. Why do we have to wait? All right. Do I need to finish? What's going on? Do I need to say goodbye to you all? Is there somebody else live right now? I feel like I'm taking up somebody else's time. Oh, Karen W. Asking if he's going to be charged again. Yes, I think between now and August, and major changes in August. Okay, Joel Tilson has the question about Senator Tommy Tuberville. Why is he holding up promotions for the military? What's his deal? Wow, that's weird. I didn't know he was doing that. Probably because he doesn't want MAGA to give up control of the military and have MAGA people replaced by Biden appointees. Don't you think? They're concerned that they are going to lose control of the military, which they will, by the way. Moment of truth. It's back and forth. There's some crazy stuff going in the military right now. Armistice negotiations. Look at this tower. You know what? Before we go, I think we have to do something on Putin. Aren't you guys worried that he's going to blow that freaking thing up? Or are you guys not worried? Is Putin planning on holding the Ukrainian people hostage? What do you think? Do you think he's that crazy? Oh, she pre-recorded good because I didn't want to. I really try to be respectful of other people if they're because I usually am out of here by 12:15. But if we go late, as long as I'm not interrupting somebody else's live. So I've gone into this a couple of times. Evidently, there's been a couple of secret rumors of secret operations that have failed. How am I celebrating the 4th of July? I'm not going anywhere because I have to be, if I go to stay at my sister's or something like that and sleep over, it won't work because July 5th at 8 a.m., I got to get my tooth taken care of. I got to go see the dentist. So I'm probably doing nothing. Unless any of you in Portland are doing anything. Maybe my friends in Portland are doing something. We'll figure it out. Putin planning on blowing everybody up. Yeah, it's a threat. I would take it seriously. I would take it very, very seriously. Um, it's kind of like the last thing in Putin's back pocket, where he feels like it's game over. I've already won because as long as I have control over the nuclear power plant and we can detonate it, you know, from 100 miles away, then theoretically we've already won the war. This is his argument. And so, in terms of his mental state, Putin, very stressed out. I don't think, he, in his wildest dreams, I don't think he ever thought that Wagner would be coming to kill him, that the Frankenstein monster would be coming to kill him. Yeah. In terms of final outcome, it's advised that U.S. has to go in. I would say sooner rather than later. Six of Wands to go in battle. Situations transformed in the next few days. There's a star over the U.S. World, impacting the world. We can stop it, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a special Navy SEAL operation or something that happened with those types of cards. Yeah. All right, love and light. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me. I always love getting together with you all. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can find my information below. I book through Booksy. Thank you, everyone who donated to the channel through PayPal. I did receive your PayPal donations. Much appreciated. Also, thank you to everyone who donated to the charity today. It's much appreciated. I think next week, if I can remember, we'll do AmericanForest.org. To let you guys know, also, you did build a forest. You did build a forest. You planted, dun, 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 drum roll, please. This channel has planted 27,000 trees. Oh, come on. You guys can do better than that. Couple little, 27,000 trees. What am I, chopped liver? So you built a forest, kids. That's what you did. So next week, maybe we can do it again. All right. Thank you, everyone. Love and light. I'll see you guys later. 27,000 trees planted. Think about, meditate on that for a while while you finish your brunch. See you guys later. Yeah, 27,000. Not bad.